Is this woman for real?
Thing. We may not like when Republicans win, but we don't go and we don't storm. We don't try to change what. We'll go to court. We don't do that.
Did I miss an entire year of Antifa riots where cities across this country were burning and police cars were being firebombed?
I guess you did.
Your position is the left doesn't engage in violence, really?
No, they wanted to nuke our friend Mike Pence. Like, how do we make sense of that?
You just accused us of doing something we didn't do.
Republicans win, but not when Democrats win.
No.
What is up, guys? John Claymore here. Now, yesterday, Ted Cruz was trending with The View, mostly because of the comment or the exchange that you just saw now. Now, guys, this video right here is to talk mostly about the hypocrisy of the left, or let's just say the non-acknowledgement of what exactly occurred in 2020. Now, guys, before we get started, there's going to be 4 videos released this week. This one right here, obviously, today. There's going to be a clip from this video right here. We will also be in the video tomorrow, which, by the way, we'll be talking about why it is that the Democrats' plans, the entire narrative, of course, on 1-6 has not worked, which, by the way, is also going to be a touchdown on this video right here. We're also going to be talking about what probably happens after the midterms. That video will be out on Thursday, and, of course, I'm going to be making all these videos today. And, of course, we're going to have a video on the Second Amendment. Of course, this right here is part of my little manifesto, my actual policy positions, which, by the way, I did not do when I first created this channel, but I want to go ahead and do it now, of course, that they're being this month before the end of the year as well. With that right there being said, let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of Ted Cruz, even though I have found myself defending him a lot more. Of course, it was 2016. There was a whole Goldman Sachs thing, if you guys kind of remember that. Of course, the 2016 Republican National Convention. I don't think we have to revisit this. But Cruz is pretty effective when it comes to actually getting a message across. Now, guys, I did a video yesterday on Ben Shapiro and Ethan Klein. Of course, I'll leave that video in the description box or the comment section of this video here for you guys, as well as the link to my second channel, Gear Issue 33, which is my more military-driven channel, of course. But the thing is this right here. For all Ben Shapiro's faults, the things I disagree with him about, what I can say about Shapiro is that he is actually relatively effective, the exact same way I think that Ted Cruz is very effective. I think he's very underrated in which way he gets a message across. And I will also be leaving the full exchange of these two, which, by the way, was quite frankly dumber. There's just too much to pick apart here from the ladies from The View, because the old cackling hens, once again, they show you exactly how crazy they are. And, of course, the one conservative that they got up there now, which, by the way, is just another Meghan McCain, just a better-looking version of her, is once again also another never-Trumper, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and get that out of the way. It's an extremely biased liberal show. Most of you guys know this. So when Ted Cruz basically points out the fact that there were riots in 2020, yeah, this right here does not surprise me that Whoopi Goldberg would have this response, because as far as how the left is. Now, guys, before we go to the so-called riots, and I have to actually show you and remind you of what happened in 2020, let's actually talk a little bit about 1-6 just for a second. 1-6, people love to continue to go out there and say that it's like it's worse than 9/11 and crap like that right there. No, it is not. What 1-6 was an actual scrum, okay? Now, this clip right here was taken by MSNBC. They were a little bit shocked by, let's just say they were shocked by these voters' responses in this focus group. Let's go ahead and roll this.
Was at the insurrection, and he was photographed breaching one of the restricted areas. Is that okay?
Which area? Because I saw a video where Capitol officers were taking away barriers and unlocking doors for people. So, I mean,
they opened the gates.
So it shouldn't be disqualifying for an elected official if they participated in January 6th?
He didn't strike anybody. He didn't hurt anybody.
And the only one that died was a protester there, not a Capitol police officer.
An unarmed female veteran.
That's the only one that died.
That's the only one who died.
A police officer did die.
No. It was a stroke.
That's
not on site.
Caused by that. That's because he shouldn't have been a police officer. It was one woman.
So what do you make, though, overall of January 6th? I mean, watching that footage, it was pretty disturbing. I mean, there were people throwing excrement at the walls, and it was it's the Capitol.
It looked a lot like Antifa's actions.
Yeah, it looked a lot, except on a much smaller scale. It looked the same as the Black Lives Matter riots.
That's what I saw, the similarities to be.
Minneapolis burns, Kenosha burns.
But so it's okay just because one side that you disagree with?
I'm saying Antifa infiltrated.
It's good for one, it's good for the other.
Anybody who harmed anybody who caused property destruction, that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah,
but if you're there making your voice heard at the people's house, no less, that's, again, it's a fundamental constitutional right of an American citizen. and people should not be being held political prisoner because of it.
For misdemeanors. That's East Germany.
That's East Germany.
Tactics.
Yeah, that's what's scary.
It was an actual fiery but mostly peaceful protest. And the other ones that were the
Was the protest legitimate in your eyes?
Administration,
because
I feel like, is using it as their Reichstag fire.
Now, guys, this right here is going to be the meat of the next video, but I want to go ahead and kind of get you guys' mindset in there to kind of understand, to kind of see exactly what it is. You see, liberals are acting and they're feigning shock that we're not horrified by that. Let me go ahead and explain what 1-6 was. For the most part, it was a rally. For the most part, it was basically a peaceful protest. Okay, Trump had already said, march over there peacefully. They've been trying to pound this narrative, and don't worry, like I said, I'll explain in the next video why it is this narrative just does not work and people do not care. The whole thing about, say, they were throwing feces on the wall, that right there is not true either. The day itself was kind of muddy, it was kind of wet, and a lot of people were walking in. They were tracking mud into the Capitol, which I found was kind of weird why the people at the Capitol were being so nice, talking about the workers of security, because I've been at the Capitol building twice in my life, and law enforcement were the biggest jerks I have ever seen in my life. I recall being, I want to say it was about 12 feet from an officer, maybe 15 feet, and she turned around and she just started doing this number here, go away, get away. I'm like, I'm just standing here. What the hell are you doing? I'm actually just kind of like walked through here. That really was a little bit off to me. I was kind of, the whole day kind of fell off in my opinion. But this video is not about 1-6. I'm just kind of using this as an example. You see, they love to hype this type of stuff up, but then they love to go out there and say that they did not do anything. Now, as I'm talking right now, I'm showing you guys footage, of course, from 2020. The George Floyd riots, for the most part, and I've kind of sort of came around to this. I've always felt that it was Antifa riots, but in reality, I think it was George Floyd riots. I think it was BLM. I think what it was BLM that was mostly doing the riots, and of course Antifa was there to stoke everything. Now, I've talked about this before, and I've even referenced the South Park Get Behind the Darkies Operation Human Shield, because I always felt in the back of my mind that what was really going on was that white liberals were pushing black liberals, or let's just go ahead and say what it is, African Americans who were upset about George Floyd. They were pushing them into the fray, and they were probably hoping that the cops would eventually pull out their pistols and actually shoot back. You see, Democrats don't like black people, okay? They realize that black people are just a good old-fashioned vote. Don't worry, we'll be doing a project on that in the near future about deciding which faction is actually the most racist, of course, named between white liberals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing is right here, liberals will never acknowledge what they actually did or have done. Remember, they were also outside the White House trying to storm it. They didn't get past the barriers, and former President Trump was actually put into a bunker. Okay, after he went to that bunker, they started making fun of him about going into that bunker. This is who these people are for the most part. They're a bunch of tricksters. So it does not surprise me that the disparity between Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Cruz is so far. Now, guys, let me go ahead and say this really quick, okay? I've got to point this out because a lot of people online were saying, my God, what a low IQ person. That is not what it is. Joy Behar is a low IQ person, okay? She is a low IQ person. Whoopi Goldberg, on the other hand, has actually been in politics for a while. She basically had a shtick for a while where she was a host on the Golden Globes or even the Oscars, where every year she just kind of sort of attacked Republicans. So Hollywood attacking Republicans, or those in Hollywood attacking Republicans, has never surprised me, because quite frankly, it's kind of sort of been ingrained in Hollywood's culture. Whoopi Goldberg knows exactly what happened in 2020, yet she refuses to acknowledge it. She does this on purpose. Like I said, she knows this. But we have to go ahead and point something else out too, okay? And I've got to say this because you're probably thinking this was just starting to sound like a rant. No. This right here is actually the meat of what I was going to say. In 2000, when George W. Bush got elected, during their little 1-6 confirmation, Sheila Jackson Lee and several others protested that George W. Bush was, in fact, being elected or was about to go into the White House. In 2004, they claimed that the election was rigged and stolen. They claimed that John Kerry was supposed to be president and George W. Bush was not supposed to get reelected. They claimed that then. 2008, they got into the White House. 2012, they got what they wanted. 2016, I'm pretty sure we all remember 2016, they protested the fact that Donald Trump was going into the White House. So the fact of the matter is this right here. Liberals always have some type of excuse. I mean, how many times do we have to hear about Hillary Clinton, Russia collusion, and, well, Donald Trump's not a legitimate president. So this type of stuff right here out of Whoopi Goldberg, This right here does not surprise me. However, this is also very, very indicative of the actual Democrat voter themselves. Chances are, if you watch MSNBC, you probably really and truly believe that 1/6 was in fact worse than 9/11, even though 9/11 you had over 3,000 people die. These people are absolutely insane. They're stupid. They're ridiculous. Or it could be that they are just purposely, let's just say, they are purposely misleading you on purpose because they know that their voters are not very bright. Guys, Jonathan Haidt wrote the book, The Righteous Mind, and in his book, and by the way, Jonathan Haidt's no conservative. I mean, they voted for Biden and Clinton. But he made a point in his book, and of course, you could always look at the sheet and see that conservatives and moderates typically tend to understand liberals, but liberals do not understand conservatives. By the way, there will be a project out in the future talking about the discussion between the two. A little bit of inspiration from another video, but I will be releasing that video before the end of the year, so I'll update you guys on that. Fact of the matter is that liberals, for the most part, or liberal voters, they do not understand conservatives or moderates. They do not understand why it is the way we are. Well, the biggest reason why is because conservatives and moderates typically tend to be much, much more self-efficient and not as reliant on the government, where liberals, to a certain extent, whether they know it or not, are very, very reliant on the actual federal government itself. The idea being that, look, I don't care what you do, just leave me the hell alone. That thing right there has shifted, and now the conservative has taken on a much, much more classical position. This right here, like I said, does not surprise me that Whoopi Goldberg would not even acknowledge the fact that riots did occur. People got killed. By the way, at 1/6, only 2 people died. It was an officer who died of a heart attack, and of course, Ashley Babbitt, who was unarmed. I just figured I would throw this out there. So, guys, if you're wanting to understand, or trying to understand exactly why it is that Whoopi Goldberg is as bad as she is, just know that she is purposely this way. It's not because she's stupid or she's got a low IQ. She's purposely lying and purposely not acknowledging what happened in 2020, because that right there is the current state of liberals in America at this moment in time. They do not acknowledge their own faults. Guys, John Claymore, if you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound in the comment section. We will expand on this right here a little bit further in the very next video, because we're going to be talking about the actual voter reaction and why it is that this 1/6 crap is just not working. And of course, the next video after that right there, which probably I'm going to make today, is going to talk about why it is Democrats are getting rejected, but don't be surprised at what the hell they do post-2022. With that right there being said, let's go ahead and end this video. I'll see you guys later.